Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We are probably going to finalize the Lazuli Bunting. And the bird is basically done. We got a little bit more to do on the tail here. I'm looking at it, and the tail's like a little too white, even though I graded a little bit. I'm going to put a coat of paint on that one. I'm going to be probably using a burnt umber light wash, and we will put that in. Since we were talking on the last video, we were working on the feet. I hope everybody has done this. I put a second coat of the black on there, so you should probably have done it on the post where it's going to go into the base. You'll also want to come up and paint it right around that knuckle where the bend is, slightly going up, and that should be the area where you want to make sure you don't see anything silvery on there at all. Okay, so you want to hit that pretty good and have no silver showing, or what would be it's a casting, and you don't want to see any of the metal at all. So I gave it 2 coats of black, and I had it a little bit on the heavy side, like the creamy side, I should say, and dry it each time in between. So it's pretty solid. Now, when we go to mount this, which I'm going to try to show you today too, as well, when you handle it, you may have to go back and retouch it. It's just the nature of the beast. Even though we put a sealer on the metal and we prime it, it doesn't want to always grab so well on metal. So we'll touch it up if need be. Okay, and maybe we won't. We may not need it. So I'm going to try to show you how to set up your bird on a setting, and I'll show you from a base I have and so on, how we do it, and then how to dress it out to make it interesting and so on. So we're finally getting to wrap up the Lazuli Bunting, and I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, it's a pretty bird, and for those who wanted to try something that I think it's kind of bright and charming. It's a West Coast bird most of the time. I don't think it migrates that much to the east, maybe to the middle of the country a little bit, but most of it's on the western side. And we do have different buntings in the area. There's painted buntings, and I'm trying to think of some more. I've done a few different buntings along the way, but this is the painted bunting is just that. It's got more color than you could shake a stick at, and I didn't want to go there as much as the Lazuli just seemed very eye appealing. So I went that way. And what I want to also mention to you, if you are enjoying these videos, and for those who are just starting to watch, I would ask you if you could please give me a thumbs up on the video, and if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that greatly. It helps in the count on YouTube, and that really helps a lot. And if anybody that ever wants to contribute to my channel, I appreciate that too. I really thank the people that have. It's very helpful in getting this information out, and my time and so on. So I really appreciate the help there. And if you can pass the word on to friends of yours that may have the interest in wanting to try to do this, I really appreciate that. I do have a catalog that's available if you need any of the feet, the eyes, or the kits. I have all that patterns, even the equipment. and I try to show you, if you go back in my videos, I've done like otters, cardinals, wrens, owls, whatever you may be interested in. I have, I've done this over maybe a 50-year period, and I've probably done 30, 40, or 50 birds easy, and not always the ones that everybody's doing. I do a lot of songbirds, but I've done like a wood duck, and but I do it like in miniatures more than I do full size. If a bird tends to be real big, I try to put it so you can put it on a shelf. And that's not saying a full-size duck you can't put on the shelf. You can. But I try to minimize it, because the bigger the piece, at the time when I was running classes, and that's how I really not do the videos, but I had more time and I had people in front of me, and the time is of the essence as far as doing these. You don't want to make something so long that you lose interest in the piece, okay? And I would ask you, when you do get to the painting end of it, to just have a little more patience. It is challenging, and you need a steady hand sometime, because like with this bird here, to get the white in the areas we want it, I'm asking you to use a real fine pointed brush and so on. And you see me hold this in my hand and do this. I've had students that don't have the steadiness. So what's smart a lot of times is to put this on the table, get your hand on a rest, and work it in. These are just tips I'm trying to give you in case you don't have the dexterity to hold it steady. And trust me, as time goes on, I'll be there too. You know, I haven't been there yet, but like everything else, age creeps into everything we do. So especially where I'm at anyway, you're probably a lot younger than I am, and great for that. I'm glad to hear that. But I love the challenge of doing these pieces. I love the detail and so on. So I'm really trying to guide you in the direction I've done, but I'm also going to state to you, if you see other people that are doing similar stuff that I'm doing, learn from them too. You're learning my techniques that I've done over the years, but that doesn't say you can't incorporate theirs. You're going to see things that maybe you like that they did that you want to incorporate into yours. And then what you do is you come up with your own style, and that's the way it should be, okay? I'm trying to get you up to a certain level, and trust me, if you ever want to see some fantastic stuff, the Ward Foundation in Ocean City, Maryland, I think it's the last weekend in April, their show is fantastic. You'll see the best in the world there, okay? And it'll blow your mind to see some of the things. The birds actually look more real than the real birds. That's how good they are. And I would recommend anybody, if you ever have an opportunity to get down there to see the show, I would definitely do that. You mingle with the crowd, talk to the carvers there. I would think they would respond to you for information and so on, and learn from everybody, okay? So I'm just scratching the surface here, and I want everybody to improve from what you think you could do to can do, you know. My next video I'm working on, and it's going to be something different. Just to give you a heads up, I'm going to get away from the birds right now, and I'm going to do something different, and you'll see on the next video as soon as I get my project done here. It's going to be just a novelty type thing. It's going to be something we can do in a short period of time and not so many videos, okay? Hopefully in just a handful of videos, you'll be able to carve something that's small. It's a novelty type item. I hope some of you will enjoy doing it and find some interest in it. And it's not a long project. And you don't have to go so detailed. I'm going to show you a detailed item on it, and I'm going to show you what I call like a slick. It doesn't have all the details in it. So we'll have some fun with it. And I don't think it's that hard to paint, where we get into a lot more painting chores as we go. So I hope you enjoy when you see it. And try it. You know, it's something different, and it's a nice conversational piece, and fun too. It's not so tedious as the birds were doing. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the camera down so that you can follow me on this, and I'm gonna try to get my camera, which is usually facing down most of the time, to see how I'm doing things. I'm going to try to hold the camera out so that you can see the project looking in, because when we mount it, to look at it as if it's on a shelf will present itself better. So bear with me on this. I'm going to try to give you all the angles of how to do it and finalize the setting itself. So I hope you enjoyed the bunting, and I'll hope to see you on the next project too. So bear with me, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I have a base here, and there's different bases I carry, but I have this one, and it's a carved base I got, and it's recessed. So what I did is I got a piece of driftwood, and I cut it so I have a flat bottom, and then I made sure it fits right into that recess. Okay, just like that, and it fits really snug, pretty good in there. And there we go. And it fits perfect, okay? So what I want to do now is to glue this down, and I wanted to do this now so that later on when we go to try to mount something, I can have this anchored down. So let me start you out by doing that. Let's see. I have some wood glue here that I'm going to use. I'm going to put this on the bottom of my driftwood here, just so I can let this sit for a while and get that on there. So I'm going to get this and apply it right in there without trying to get on the edges. Let that sit right in there. Push it down. If the glue shows, no problem, because we're going to cover a lot of this area in here anyway. So I'm going to put that off so you can see how that whole thing's set up. I'm going to mount the bird on here, and what I'm going to do is have it stand on top of this piece of wood here, okay? And I want to get that started first, just to get that out of the way. So getting back to the bird itself, let me clean up my glue here, just so I have everything where it should be and not get glued on everything. Now, I have, this is a burnt umber. It's Liquitex, but you can use any burnt umber that's acrylic. And I'm talking about just using very little. I just want to get a smattering. That's little, okay? And all I'm doing is using a real light wash to go over what I'm doing here on the tail. I'm going to use a square brush this time rather than a pointed one. We'll put a couple drops, maybe a third of a cup in there. I'm going to mix that real good. I hope you can see this. And I'm going to try to show you on a paper towel here how dark we are or not. See, it's really light. It's a light stain. So what I want to do is get this going. In the meantime, I'm just going to get some paint on here. If you notice, I took most of it off. I'm going to lay this in here like so. And that's just going to put just a little more of an off-colored white is what I'm really looking at. I'm going to do that right up to the edge on both sides so that there's no white showing. And maybe what I'll do is come back and hit that one more time, but I'm going to let that dry. Now, let's see, did I get my cup with me? Yeah. Wait, bear with me a second, because I want to try to show you something here. Anytime you're using paints, I usually have a cup of water around and I rinse my brush out. That's you want to preserve your brushes, and if you let it sit and dry with acrylic paints in, this will get as stiff as a board. This way, if you rinse it out and then just wipe it on a paper towel and just let it sit there. If you're dealing with a pointed brush, let me grab one here. This doesn't have the greatest point, but if I loaded this up and you want to get a point on your brush, you twist it a little bit, okay? And that'll hold the shape. Well, first you want to rinse it out first with water, and then I twist it so it's rolling and it'll go into a point. Now, you know I have one brush that I really like a lot. Of course, I'm not going to find it when I want it, but it's here. And I use that one brush for fine detail work. And I even have brushes that I handle that, here's my brush right here. Look at the point on that baby, and it really holds up, okay? And that's when this one is great for detailing, putting that white edge on the piece here and so on, and getting into the real tight areas, okay? So it's ideal. This happens to be a number 3 brush, and I like it a lot. Now, some of these are not sable. They're the Trilon or something brush. They're a synthetic, but they hold up very well. So you don't have to go out and spend expensive brushes, but a lot of the professionals do. So I'm not going to knock it, but that happens. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to come back and hit that later, but I'm going to let that air dry. Now, we have painted these feet, And let me go back and do one other thing that I want you to understand as well. Where I put the feet are in the middle of the bird, okay? And what I mean by the middle is from the tail to the beak. The middle of it, halfway between, is where the feet go in, or the legs go into the body, okay? So what I usually do is put a pencil mark. I've use an awl, and I push that in to get a start. Then I drill holes in, okay? And maybe you want to go in about a 1/2 inch in or something like that. That sets it up. This isn't always 100%. Sometimes, depending on your setting, you may have to move one leg forward of the other, depending on the setting, so you can balance this thing out. You don't want a bird that looks like it's hanging out off of a cliff or something. You want to look like it's balanced, like it's upright and not off on a roll like he's tilting. So yeah, sometimes want to plan your piece out. And let me show you something else. I'm going to bring the base back in here just so you can figure out a way of doing this so you're not caught. You can't force a bird onto a base unless you plan your piece of wood out or so on. Now, some people carve. Yeah, certain shows require everything to be carved, okay? If you're doing it for yourself, you can just get a piece of driftwood and cut it, flatten it. You don't even need the base sometimes, depending on how the wood is set up. You could just cut a flat piece underneath. But I think bases tend to dress things out. So I use a base almost every time. Now, the base I picked out for this bird right now is this one right here, and I'm looking at it this way. This is set up like this. The bird generally is going to go in this direction, and the reason why, see this here, it needs at least that much spacing. Now, how I did. All right, so what I was trying to say was on the bird itself, if you take the center of the bird, and I was also mentioning about from the beak to the tail, to locate these, it's right in the middle. It's half the distance between here and here. And if you took the center and go out 5/16 this side and that side, that's where we should drill the holes. And you want to make them to the size of, here's what's going to go into the bird, and you need that diameter so that this will slide right in, and it'll help you mount that just right, okay? And at the same time, that same spacing, I try to get onto the piece of wood, okay? And I've drilled a hole in the wood about 5/8 apart in this direction, because this is how I want the bird to face, because I was trying to get this to land as if it was sitting there and not tilting like this or tilting like that. And then you're trying to balance it and you're bending the legs and everything else. You want it to slide right in, at the same time have the profile that you want. So I'm going to show you, and I'll do a vertical shot, or a horizontal shot, I should say, after I get done here, to see what this looks like looking in, because I have my camera looking down, which is kind of hard. So the idea also is that I'm stressing that the feet do have a left and a right, and where it toes in on the back toe inward, that goes on this side of the bird, okay? And you can see here, it's inward towards this here. Now, when I go and I get the other one and slide this one in and get that in all the way up to where it belongs, this side is toeing in that way too. So everything's toeing in towards the center here. This is the left and this is the right, or vice versa. You know, it's always toeing in. So make sure that when you are setting up your feet, even if you're doing like just like I did here, where I made these up out of wire rather than the casting, you have your toes always facing to the inside, okay? So, and they're from the center out 5/16 each way, or a total of 5/8, and that gives you the spacing up here. And what I was trying to also say is this direction has to be enough to grab everything comfortably, and you have the bird sitting up, okay? And you got to plan for this ahead of time. So even if you have to drill another hole or something like that to get your piece in, this should come in and fit right in there. And the bird looks comfortable, okay, sitting on there. Now, you're looking down from the top right now, but I'm going to give you a horizontal shot looking in this way, and you'll see what I'm talking about afterwards. But what I'm going to first do before I go any further is I'm going to mix a 5-minute epoxy. Now, I've glued the base on. You see me do that on the beginning part of the video. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to, and if anybody needs any of this, I have 5-minute epoxy, which is in bottles like this. It's a 2-parter. And I'm going to just come out. I don't need much because I'm only gluing just the part that's going into the body. And then I'm going to take a little bit more on the hardener side. That's this one. Let me get this off. It's starting to set. And I'll squeeze some of this out. Hardener tends to have a little more viscosity. And I'll get that out like that. And I don't have a lot there now. So put the lid on that. And these I have available if you need these. They're inexpensive, and it's a nice way to dispense it and get it out without having a lot of mess. Now I use a wire. This is also the same wire, the florist wire I use for my setting. Now I'm going to stir this up real good. 5-minute epoxy is just that. It takes 5 minutes to set up, so it gives you some time to work with it, okay? So I'm going to come into the hole here. Oh, I don't want to do that. What am I doing? Wrong hole in the wrong place. I said I wanted to attach this into the bird first. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to stick my glue right into the hole. Notice there isn't a lot. You don't need a lot. I'll get that in there like in the hole. Hope you've seen that. I stuck it right in there, and I stuck it right in there. I tend to go out of camera range at times, and I apologize for that if I did, but I hope you see that. Now, I'm going to come up here where it's threaded, and I'm going to get this and put some on here, but not a lot, just a little bit, because you already have the glue in the hole already. So this is the one where it toes, the back toe is toeing inward to this side, right the middle, towards the middle. Then, I hope you've seen that, this is toeing into the middle, that one's glued in. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get this one. I'm going to get a little bit of 5-minute epoxy on there and get this on all sides so it grabs nicely. Not a lot, you don't need a lot. Then I'm going to put this one right in there. I'm going to get that all the way up so that that little knuckle there is right up against it. Now, to help myself, I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to leave that so that it sets in place. And it's only going to take 5 minutes, okay? And that's not a big deal. So I'm going to, in a sense, clean my wire here because we're going to use this again. I'm going to throw away, these are just stickies, and I just peel one off and start over again because I want to get a fresh batch, and I want that. I should have kept this here because what happens is after it hardens, you can touch it and see how hard it is. I happen to throw this away afterwards, but I'm going to give it 5 minutes, okay? Now, let me also work on something else that I wanted to plan on too, is the base. We'll come back and do the feet that go into the wood afterwards, okay? So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to show you these bald spots around this piece of wood. We're going to dress it out, and for me, I use what they call reindeer moss, okay? So the reindeer moss is ideal for this. Now, what I'm going to use is an Elmer's glue or anything that is simple to use as far as, let's see if I have some glue here, just to show you. Here's one right here. This is this is just a school glue. It's like an Elmer's, okay? And all you need to do, let's see if I can open this up and squeeze a little out. Let's see if it's coming out. No. Oh, yes, it is. There it is. Okay, see, it's just a white glue, but it dries clear. So I'm going to come in here and just squirt some of this in here like that. Then I'll put a little bit right in here, like so. Okay. Yep. Don't want that to spin around. And it's doing it again. And then I'm going to do it right in here. Okay, just that little bit. Then I'll close this up. I always try to clean this thing out. So we have glue all the way around here. Let me get this down. This bird wants to fly. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to get some, oh, this is reindeer moss, okay? It's a moss that stays very flexible for the most part. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to push that down in there so it gets the glue on the back side and it'll hold it in place. And then I'm going to get another piece and stretch that right in here and tuck that in. Yep. Come on, stay still. The bird wants to jump. So now I'm going to get this bigger piece and I'm going to stick that back in there and I'm going to fill that in. I hope you can see this. And I'll get that tucked in. And it's all right if it raises up a little bit, that's fine. And then for the back piece, long piece here, I'm going to tuck that in and get that so it's, you want to just push it down into the glue from the top and that will grab that. And what that does, I think it dresses it out nicely. So you'll have to be the judge of that, but I'm going to then come back and in about a minute or two, we're going to do the final fit up of this bird here. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. There it is, right there. I'm trying to get that to stay still. I'm trying to do everything at one time. I usually do it, let the glue sit, harden, and everything else. And I'm sort of trying to move this all along. But I'm going to move the camera so you can look in on this to see what I'm talking about as far as being balanced. And I'm going to also show you where you could manipulate the bird to tilt down or up or however you want to. Right now, you're looking from the top down, okay? Now, when I want to try to put this 1 foot, the post broke off. So I'm going to glue it onto the wood anyway, and I'll show you how to do that. It lost its post, but I can attach it and glue it to the wood. This post on this foot right here will have really have glue in the hole there and everything else. So I'll show you how to do that too. So in the meantime, I did give the tail a second coat of the burnt umber, which is this stuff here, okay? And it's watered down, so you can see the staining quality isn't much. So it just makes it look dirty, if that's what you want to look at, you know, or get an expression of how it should look. So we're at almost that stage. I'm going to, let's see if I can, I better give that a few more minutes. In the meantime, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to get, I hope you can see this, yeah. I'm going to get my glue, my 5-minute epoxy, and I'm going to get this and squirt a little bit out. You don't go crazy because you only need a little bit. And I'm going to get that was the one. Then this is the second part. This is the hardener, at least that's what they call it here. It's hardener. I'm going to squeeze some out, equal parts. Okay, the hardener has a higher viscosity, so it'll take a little bit longer to get out, a little more squeezing. But that should be about equal amounts. Now, before I mix them, if you notice, I kept them separate. So there's no chemical reaction to this until I start mixing. So I usually get a piece of wire like this, which is what I was using for the legs. And then, let's see if I can pull this out. Yeah. See, now, these are starting to harden, and I think they're okay. I'm not going to touch them, but I'm going to come in here now, and I'm going to mix this real good. And I'm going to put this in the hole right there. And then I'm going to get a little bit more. Let me see if I can look down this one. Put it in the hole there. I don't know which one I did. I did 2 holes in here. Okay. Get this. Not sure which one I used, but we will get it. Now, without moving any of the feet, I'm just going to come in and put a little glue on the post here. Now, I forced this right here and broke off the post. So if you ever do that, what I do is I put a little bit of glue, 5-minute epoxy, right there. Now, I'm going to set this so you can see that I slide this right into that one. Rest this bird right there like this. And now I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to show you how hard it gets, okay? I'm also looking at the bird to make sure it's balanced, or it looks balanced, okay? And I'm looking in on it this way. You don't see that, but I'm going to let that bird sit just that way, and we'll give it time. Now, the other thing that I didn't show you yet is we're going to mix a little bit of white in a cup here, okay? I mean, just a little bit of white. We're just going to take a little dab, okay? That's a very little, because we have very little to do now. So I'm going to get a thin brush. Let's see if I can find this is my favorite. I'm hardly getting any water in here. I'm just going to wet the brush. I'll have some moisture on there, and I'm going to stir this up. But this is going to be like on the thick side, like pasty almost, okay? I'll take the excess off, and I'm going to rinse this out because I'm not ready to paint yet, but I'm going to actually paint. And what I'm going to paint is the bird. I'm going to show you a finished bird that's done already, and I want you to see what that looks like. Here's an indigo bunting that I did before, and you can see just before it enters into the body here and here, I'm going to paint that from like the joint up white, okay? And I'm going to do that even though it's black. I could have painted it before I stuck the legs in there, but I'm going to show you how to do it this way. But what I want to do is give it a chance to get hardened, and that's something I want you to see. And it takes all of 5 minutes, and it'll get real tacky and real hard. So we'll pretty much, I'll give it the time, okay? This will set up. The wood that we glued in there before is set now. The moss will get set in there too. And the moss at times will fluff up, that's fine, but it fills that area and it sort of dresses it out. And I will try to give you a view looking in so I could show you exactly what I'm talking about. And this bird sort of has like an upright position, and it's similar to the one I did before, this one here. This can be repositioned too. Like I have this glued in, but I could bend this up or I can bend it down. Depends on where you want to go with it, okay? So I'm just trying to show you, once you get it glued in, then you don't have to worry too much about where it's going or anything else like that. And the 5-minute epoxy takes all of 5 minutes. I usually give it a little bit more time than that, but you got to be patient with it. On, like I said, the wash for the underneath side of the tail gets 2 coats, okay? And it's very watered down, burnt umber, okay? And that should work out well for you. I'm going to rinse my brush here. And if you notice, I roll it to get that point back. I always want to maintain that point, because this is one for my detail. I call it like a detail brush, and it gets right in there, and it really does the job. So I'm going to go through my spiel to end this, and I'm going to say I hope you enjoyed doing the Lazuli Bunting. We are going to start a new project, and it isn't going to be a bird, and I haven't quite finished it yet. I've started on it. I've done a carving or two. I've done some detailed work on a piece, and I did a smoothie, is what I mean by a smoothie. What I'm doing next is not a bird now, but it's going to be something different. This here bird, I think I'm on, this will be like video 23, I think, that it took me to do this bird, okay? And in some cases, some of the, like the owl, which is very detailed and a lot of painting, had 47 videos on it, okay? But I take you step by step and I get you there. Well, the project I'm hoping that I do next will be something short and sweet and not too long. I think the whole thing is about 3 inches long and about maybe 1 inch wide. And it's a novelty type piece. So I'll leave it at that. And when we get to it, hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's not so detailed, although it can be, and I'll show you a variety of both. But it's a fun project as well, and it's something you can do in maybe, I'm going to say, the maximum videos I'm going to have is 5. So we're going to get this done pretty fast. I mean, but like everything, it takes time. Some of my videos run a little long, and I don't mean to bore you with it or something like that, but I'm trying to give you as much information as I can. So if I get a little long in the tooth as far as giving you the information, I'm trying to give you all that I know, okay? So I'm looking at the 5-minute epoxy. You can see it's starting to gum up now. So I'm going to I'm not going to use my good brush just in case my glue isn't set. So I'm going to get another brush that I'm not worried about. Here's one here. This thing's seen better days. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to see if I can tilt this a little bit. Oop, still not set. Okay, I'll hold that down. Let's see if that won't do it. Yeah, I may have to. I know that post, I broke it off, so I'm going to have to glue that again. But let me expedite this way. I'm going to get my piece. I'm going to get some white. Hope you can see the white. I'm going to come in here, and from the joint up, I'm going to paint that white all the way around. So I hope you can see this. Let me get some more white. Okay. And it's almost less than 1/4 of an inch down from the body. And I'm going to come in on the inside here. Hope you can see this. There's that. I'm just going to have to glue this in again on the one side. This goes down like that. Now, I'll paint this up here. Oop, I see something I missed. So, I don't know if you can see that. Fortunate thing, we're buttoned up to the white anyway, so you can paint a little bit more on the white on the onto the breast. You're not going to hurt it too much. So I'm coming around here. See if I got the front side there. And hold that down. That down. Here we go. I'm going to rinse the brush out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to relocate the camera and give you a background so you can see what the piece looks like looking in. Okay, so bear with me a second. I'm going to... Now, this is the bird as you would look at it on a shelf, and I'm going to position this around so you could see it and how the legs are spaced out and everything else. And this is what I'm trying to get you to achieve as the end look for this bird. So as of now, the Lazuli Bunting is flying, as I hope it would be, and I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, I would ask you to give me a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe to my channel. And if anybody needs anything as far as catalogs or kits to do this bird or any of the other ones I have, please write to me. It's Rauscher, R-A-U-S-C-H-E-R, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, 7 @gmail.com. And I will send out a catalog to you, and we could discuss whatever you may need. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I think you'll have an interesting one coming up in a little while here, okay? So thanks again, and hope you enjoy it.